I'm just taken by this understanding of catastrophe, and that's what it feels like that we're in the middle of. And a lot of us are experiencing this from all sides. And it's not, we don't fight against flesh and blood, but powers and principalities. And I just want to hear your feedback on how do we stay in this? How do we fight the battles that we're fighting on so many fronts and hold together our solidarity with one another? And how do we allow and do we integrate this understanding of theology in the prophetic work that we do?
Deep question. I think that there's no accident that there's no such thing as a jazz prodigy. It's a contradiction in terms. Because the music itself requires an adult-like sensibility that looks catastrophe in the face and forges a moral fortitude and spiritual strength and determination, which is to say, to be a blues person or a jazz person is to be a long-distance runner that brings together the three dimensions of time, past, present, and future. That's why the Sankofa is so very important. And that's why the turn to the past that allow the best of it to constitute when at your back is a precondition for the long run. We have to be marathoners, as it were, spiritual athletes as well as moral, political, and economic activists. But allowing that depth in our spirituality to inform who we are, so that the need for meditation, spiritual exercises, and prayer, and so forth and so on, are integral so that we're not sprinters, come out of the blocks fast, and then sell out by the second lap. And that's what the powers that be understand very, very well. You know, it's no accident that Love Supreme was recorded December the 9th, 1964, at the very moment that Martin Luther King Jr. received the Nobel Peace Prize in Oslo. Love Supreme, the love title, but not two individuals, but representing one of the greatest traditions ever produced in the modern world, which was Negroes loving themselves, having no fear, loving others, and refusing to be niggerized.
Come on now.
They're so scared they don't straighten their backs up. Because you can't love if you don't straighten your back up. And you can't fight for justice if that straightened back up is not in it for the long run. Not for the market price. But for a different kind of prize for Christians. And doing it in such a way that it's still embracing everybody.
I appreciate your question, Jennifer, because we feel that catastrophic, and it's almost like it's a permanent state of catastrophe. And my three answers are Sabbath, and since I'm a pastor, I have to take my Sabbath on Monday because Sunday is a work day. But that rest and how Heltzel said, in the beginning, it's good, it's good, it's good, but on the Sabbath, it's holy.
It's good, and then the seventh.
The Sabbath is holy. And so when we take that rest for that one day, we are able to connect with the holiness of God. And then Buber talks about what is it that connects the iDAO if we really take the Imago Dei seriously. It's the exchange of hearts. We have to have the courage to be completely honest and vulnerable with each other. Otherwise, we'll never experience the intimacy or love that God has called us to. And then finally, we got to go down by the riverside. And when I say down by the riverside, we have to go down by the brush arbors into blues bars, jazz clubs, and coffee shops. And even the park where there's no listening ears. We're not on our devices, we're just talking. But we are conspiring for the basileia Theo, that reign of God's righteous love and justice. Because in those conversations, we will begin to move this city in a more just and sustainable direction.
Question over there. The question over there.
Hi, my name is Bruce. I'm a student at Union Seminary. And, honestly, my heart is kind of racing right now as I even taking a look at the powers that be that are not seeing or turning away. I honestly feel like we need to take a hard look at ourselves and just to hold myself accountable too. I live a very privileged lifestyle. I'm living in a nice apartment in union housing, and frankly, I'm not doing as much as I can to help these people that literally sleep in our doorways. But I'll tell you, it's been an uphill battle trying to get some things moving. And Peter, I think you know what I'm talking about, and I appreciate your support.
Yeah, and I think, Drew, you've done more than anybody that I know to try to organize folks.
I'm not looking for, I'm sitting here thinking, I'm not looking for any praise, none of it. What I'm saying, though, is I just want to bring to the attention of the people in this community that there's another, not a jazz singer, but a person who I love so much, a reggae singer named Bob Marley, who once said, so much has been said, so little's been done. And I want to say that when I think of all the brain power, heart power, and God consciousness in this area, JTS, UTS, NYTS, on and on, I think it's just not true to say that the best we can do is to allow human beings to sleep in our doorways. I'm not saying I don't know what the solution is, but I'm just saying it's not true to say that the best we can do is to allow them to sleep in our doorways.
So what Brother Drew is saying is that as we speak tonight, homeless will be sleeping in the God box, right around there, on the doorways to the God box, to Riverside Church, to Union Theological Seminary. And it's fine for us to come here and have a nice conversation in a warm room about what it means to be prophetic today in Resurrection City. But what are we doing about the homeless folks that are going to spend the night in a freezing cold night with snow and don't have a place to stay? And what Drew has done is he's connected, his prayer and his call is connected to the real prayer and call of homeless people in this city. And that's like his charism and his ministry. And the question is, are we in Morningside Heights? Are we going to listen to that? And have we, it's a new time for organic intellectuals. It's a new time for us to use our intellectual firepower and heart strength to begin to come up with creative new ways of housing the homeless, of feeding the hungry, of binding up the brokenhearted, of setting prisoners free. Like we have to improvise now in order to fulfill our prophetic destiny.
We have a question over here.
Good evening. Thank you, gentlemen, for the prophetic word I believe God is giving you. My name is Mike Point. My question was similar relative to the question that I presented across the room. Before I even heard his question, or his statements rather. I didn't hear the question, but my question is, the book says, the poor you shall always have with you. So I'm wondering, does anybody here, not heard Nancy, but up on the panel, give me a proposal that we put to the community where they even though the poor will have with us, but the poor will be also poor in spirit. Meaning not just from the outside of helping them, helping us from the inside out. Help them get out of the box. God also was in the box. That is my question. What do you propose? Therefore, making the prophetic word come true and making it Resurrection City. How do we propose to help those that can't come out of walk on the spirit? That is my question.
You got an answer.
I don't think there's just one proposal. I love your spirit. I love the spirit of God. There's that sense of urgency vis-a-vis a catastrophe. I think on the one hand, there is the individual level. How do we use our time, resources, and energy in one life? You have to make a choice. That's an individual choice. No one can make that choice with you. You got to answer that in our precincts and your own soul. The second one is a collective response. What kind of truth-told and movement, collective action can take place so that, given all the individual efforts, some transformations that we don't have as many precious and priceless folks sleeping on the street. Because you can have all the good people in New York City taking care of precious and priceless folk on the street, but the system keeps producing them anyway. And that's the difference between precious charitable work and precious justice work. We need both. We need both. Now, in terms of proposal, we've talked about this I book the Richard Erasmus Poverty Manifesto, the last chapter lays out 12 different proposals as to how to deal with it. It could be investments in employment, jobs with living wage. It could be quality education. So that Brother Jamal and Sister Letitia on the job has the same kind of quality education as a person, white brothers and sisters in the Manila suburb up near Westchester. It's kind of transformation of Wall Street. Billions of dollars made in the shadow bank system. Billions of no productive value whatsoever. And yet all the criminality in that one go to jail. Jamal get caught with a crack bag on to jail for 7 years immediately. That's the criminal justice system, that's criminal. Profoundly unfair and unjust. That's part and parcel of the kind of change that we're talking about. And so when I talk about momentary defeat, movements in the end deal with structures and institutions. Individuals deal individual, precious, crucial, indispensable, but in the end still inadequate in terms of dealing with the structure.
Geraldine, I think Linda Sassour has a question right back here. I did want to share an answer with you too, which is on page 166. I quote Habakkuk, and this is coming out of the Sing Sing program at New York Seminary, where it says, I will stand at my watch post and station myself on the rampart. I will keep watch to see what he will say to me and what he will answer concerning my complaint. Then the Lord answered me and said, write the vision, make it plain on tablets, so that a runner may read it. For there is still a vision for the appointed time. It speaks of the end and does not lie. If it seems to tarry, wait for it. It will surely come. It will not delay. When I went up with Ed Hunt and talked at Sing Sing prison and talked to folks that had been in the box, that were looking at the Bible and reading exegesis, with insight I'd never even thought of before. When you've been in darkness, you're able to see the light in a new perspective. And that's why there may be a white man, in the tower with a rifle. But what God is saying is, it's time for an African American man, a Hispanic woman, to stand up in the tower as watch people for the injustice in our society, so we can begin, when something happens, if there's an injustice, we can move, we can communicate, we can love, and we can help to embody justice in that place. Sister Linda, do you have a question?